Episode 8. I have to say, this is by far the best project I've created in my entire life. Because these videos came with so much more meaning. I was able to combine two things that I am immensely passionate about. One being storytelling, and two being mindfulness. Through this series, it was able to come out in the form of spiritual connection. How all of us, no matter what our version of it looks like, can have a spiritual connection and share that. We can form a community around that. Just a place where we can exist together. I'm really proud of that. And storytelling, something I've committed my life to, and I'm glad I get to share with you. So like I was saying, I have absolutely no clue how to end this. So I think I'm just gonna try a bunch of different stuff. I'm just gonna give it like 3 goes and just see which one is the best. Hold on, these jeans are a little tight. I always have this camera in my pocket. This camera has captured some of the most interesting stories that I did not expect would come my way. Throughout this web series, I pretty much filmed everything. And I mean everything.
Is my head supposed to go through this? My head won't fit.
There's a lot of stories that kind of fit in between episodes and were about things that weren't really what the series was about, so I didn't include them. I'm gonna use episode 8 as an excuse, because I don't know how I'm gonna end the series, to show you some of them. Let's begin. Have you ever thought what would it be like to have $1 billion? Don't lie to me. Yes, you have. This is a story about $1 billion.
All right, I'm at a gas station. I'm gonna buy a lottery ticket.
Well, kinda.
The winning numbers are 13, we lose. 36.
Yeah, we didn't win the lottery. But did I get you? The story begins in 2014 when I attended my first hackathon. This was a 36-hour coding camp where everyone would gather in a college gym and build code projects. For reference, some of my later on hackathon projects were flying a drone with a VR headset, a website called Late Night with Amazon that would late Friday night send you a text of a silly Amazon product like a Nicolas Cage body pillow and try and get affiliate revenue from late night partiers. This was my first hackathon. I had zero idea how to code and was maybe one of 5 high school students among the thousands of college at this entire event. But the big surprise of the event was we were going to be getting to code with these VR headsets. So it turns out this company that was lending us these headsets was founded at this very college. And a few months after that, his company was purchased by Facebook for $2 billion. That's a lot of money. I'm all packed up. I don't know how much of the story I'm allowed to tell you. A billionaire friend of our family invited us to stay in his penthouse. I absolutely should not go because I should be making this series, but I absolutely cannot say no to staying in a billionaire's penthouse in downtown Manhattan. Sue me. I'm gonna bring my fancy Converse.
Can you explain to me why grocery stores and gas station parking lots have the best sunsets?
New York City tunnel music is the best part of the whole trip. Welcome to a place that I probably should not be. Let me show you around. Oh my God. Not bad. A living room. It's like a tarantula in a piece of acrylic. Oh, that's horrifying. And an encyclopedia of serial killers. Good. Another living room. Ping pong. A very large dining room table. The kitchen. The living room in the kitchen. A very long hallway. Bedroom number 1. Bedroom number 2. Look at this bathroom. This lady's butt. And then this is his room. But I'm too scared to go in there. So you're gonna have to just imagine what's in there, I think. Today was an incredible day. But I had the realization that I'm living in a fairy tale. That's what I'm stuck thinking about.
Kent with a K-E-N-T, right? Yeah.
This is probably a once in a lifetime experience.
And this is pose, right?
Yeah.
This was, if I had Instagram, this would go on my Instagram.
Yeah. Sure. Don't put down.
You know the rules of the elevator. The rules of Kent and Jamie in an elevator: always stand as far as possible from each other to freak out unwanted guests. It almost feels fake, like I'm dreaming. Do you feel like you're dreaming by any chance?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm literally just wandering through a dream. It's completely dark, and I'm like in a mansion or something, and I'm just wandering around. I always do this thing when I lucid dream. I do my hands in a T, right? In my dreams, my hands go through each other. That's an actual siren, by the way. I'm not putting that sound effect in. Life is going to unfold in front of you in very strange ways. In my experience, I just happen to film everything as if it was novel. Maybe for a moment like this where I can tell you about it. That feeling of being in a dream was like a full body experience. I'm walking around trying to comprehend that this place even exists. It certainly was worth it. That's not how I want that to end. If I was asked to do it again, I would. No, I don't. That's just like annoying. Keep dreaming. So that was some behind the scenes. I didn't do anything though. Work hard and someday you could be a billionaire. I don't think I could ever be a billionaire. I'm not capable of anything that's worth $1 billion. I just don't. This is not an ending. This is not an ending. Okay. The studio's changed a lot. Let me tell you about that. The studio has progressed incredibly quickly. I moved in late March, and one of the things that I really tried to focus on was doing a little thing every day. In no world did I imagine it would turn into this. Where I left you in episode 1, we had just finished the desk, I had a quick panic attack, and we made some art on the wall. You see, the problem I was trying to solve in episode 1 was that of discomfort. Once I'd peeled the band-aid off and made something in the studio, I felt like it was mine. It was time to allow me to grow into this space. On April 4th, this was my original design of how I saw this studio shaping out. I'd first like to apologize for the lamps in the way. This is like the next project, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. The no crying sign is a reference to one of my favorite movies. If you get that movie, let me know in the comments. It's so harsh. I feel like people are probably really freaked out by it, but it's not that serious. Let me show you the workbench. This tool bench area is probably the second most used space in the studio to the computer. This wood desk that I'm sitting on was actually one of the first things I ever built out of wood.
That's true. It's ruined, the table's ruined.
Look, and it's solid. My dad came a week after episode 1 and helped me build this. The pegboard, which has all of the tools and tons of other random stuff. All of these white mounts for all the different tools are either custom designed by me or found on some internet website that had the really specific stuff. Where is it? This holder here. And then over here is the 3D printing area. That right there is a tool that has enabled a lot of the studio. Moving to the overhead rig. I'm gonna show you some things with this camera. The camera and screen are literally just mounted to a piece of wood. It's kind of sketchy back there. And this is just so anytime I need to film something that would require the overhead, I can do that. I've got black paper and white paper, and underneath the white paper is wood. Here is the talking head shooting area, and this offers me 3 different backgrounds as I need them. Over here we have the charging rack. This is a version 1. Having a designated setup space for charging is the smallest but most important quality of life thing that you can do. This shelf here is for cameras and some toys. This is just a mess. It kind of exists between two things, which is what causes the problem. It's not a shelf that's meant to display things, and it's not a shelf that's really meant to hold things. It's trying to be both. I need to pick one. More talking head spaces. And lastly, we have the living room. This space with a TV has literally become the designated Kent watches his videos space. I'm able to reflect, take more notes, learn more about myself, have more reflective thoughts on the work that I'm doing. So the piece I'm probably most proud of is the window room. This really all just surrounds my editing space. I wanted to create a really comfortable room. And when I saw an ad on Craigslist for a guy selling vintage windows. Okay, so I'm supposed to be buying furniture for the studio, and I saw vintage windows for $15 a piece. Oh, wow. All right, 10 windows. So I was storing them in the studio for a couple of weeks. When I go to my family's lake house in Indiana, they had just redone the garage, and my aunt saved me all of the old windows from the garage. So all the tall ones are from my family's 100-year-old fishing cottage. And then the more normal shaped ones are from the guy down the road. All right, so this is the editing space. I really wanted it to be cozy and creative. When I am feeling those two things, my editing is at its best. So facilitating that was crucial. And the walls have just become part of my story. Here we have a shelf with all of the 3D cameras from episode 3. Here's a bunch of things I found in Wyoming on our Wyoming trip in episode 5. Les enfants sont grognons is from the same movie No Crying is from. Again, if you know that reference, you gotta comment. I need you to know. I genuinely want people to come into this studio and just sense Kent. That's all I want them to feel. This is Kent's space. Let me tell you about one of my most precious objects. This was my first Rubik's Cube. I'm sure you've seen Rubik's Cubes all over the studio. You can't turn it or else the pieces will all fall apart. All of the stickers are ripped and sketch. But this to me, this kind of token, a little token from my past offers me a lot of nostalgia. I can hold it and I can feel it. When other people see this, they probably have questions, and there's a lot left unsaid from a very used Rubik's Cube. That to me sparks a good story, and I think that's why I love vintage and used stuff more. The windows on the window wall aren't just windows, they're from my family's cottage. This lamp is from a long time ago, I don't even know when, and it had a whole life before it made its way to me. I think that's so cool. This is a lock Jamie and I smashed open together because we needed to get inside a safe. Oh my God, it's like a spy movie now. No, this is the part where they like, you know, they act all cool. You know, they're like, oh, we just opened that. Should we see what's inside? Okay. Wow. This was the chainsaw blade that we used to cut a table that we found in the river.
This is gonna take forever. Maybe like 15 more docks.
For a few years, Jamie and I both worked from home, and we learned very quickly how important your space at home is to how you feel when you show up to work, how you show up to do your thing that day. My studio and my space, I want to be this creative expression that just shows off who I am. Even if that's a bit on the messy side, the way it makes me feel when I show up to be me every day is spectacular. Maybe my point of showing you the studio is how important investing in your space is to having a good work day. Have a good work day. That's not a good, like, let your space be a reflection of you. Is that good? Investing in your space is investing in your success. I don't think that works that well. I'm so bad at this. I just want to end the video. I know the story we need to tell. Buffalo Bill. In episode 1, I told you about one of the biggest regrets of my entire life, and then I just kind of kept telling you about it almost in every episode. About how when I was a kid, I went to the Buffalo Bill Memorial, but I stayed in the car instead of getting out to see it. So I mean, I have to fly back and go see it. That is the only way I could end this.
We're heading to Colorado.
Just like at the billionaire's penthouse, I felt like I was in a dream. Yes, this whole bit was kind of a joke, but I genuinely mean it when I say I think about Buffalo Bill all the time. My whole life, I've struggled so much to say no. I've given more of myself than I have available. I've burnt myself out over and over again because of my Achilles heel. And Buffalo Bill was the embodiment of this. Walking up to what I've never seen.
We're here.
Hoping to get face to face with the man, the myth, the legend himself. hoping to close the Pandora's box I unwillingly opened. I saw this.
Okay. Pretty cool. Sure.
This? Well, is this how the whole series ends? I'm not sure what I expected. It's not that I was disappointed to see that. It was a beautiful grave, and I don't want to... No jokes. No jokes about the grave. I'm not gonna lie, I totally built up in my head this whole statue. There's gonna be this grand... No. And to think I just sat in this parking lot and played Game Boy. That's kind of hilarious. I think the entire purpose of Buffalo Bill was very similar to the purpose of the Kanye West Mountains, the world's largest hoodie, the quad camera. I was just looking for another piece of me. And I felt like it was over there. I felt like it wasn't right here with me. This whole series of Grow Up has been about one thing: me and my spiritual connection. Buffalo Bill was what I felt was the final pillar of understanding younger Kent and why I am the way I am. It was because I didn't know who I was, and I was afraid of exactly that, not knowing who I am. I didn't find it there, and I never would have. And you're not gonna find yourself at a specific location either, because the journey to figure out who we are is actually our whole life. It's not just your teens, it's not your 20s, it's not your 30s. I don't know, I haven't been in my 30s yet though. I consider this spiritual because for me, figuring out who I am is having a conversation with a deeper part of myself, my creator. That's my connection, that's my why. Everything I do is an exploration of that. And that's purpose enough for my whole life to feel worth it. I am so grateful that you joined me here in season 1 of Grow Up. This whole project, the spirituality project, is about bringing together people who are on that adventure, on that journey, already there, not even started, wherever you're at in that. If that connection is something that you feel is a part of you, you are welcome here. And if it's not, you're still welcome here. We hope you stay and find your way. No one is excluded from this. This isn't about what religion you are, how often you go to church, who you are, any of that. This is about your higher power and whatever that looks like for you. We have a lot more amazing content coming to this channel, and I'll be back. I'm gonna go have my baby now, literally, I guess for the last time. Bum ba ba ba, bum ba ba ba.